and a toxic glow.
Hello. I don't know what happened to my intro video. How is everyone today? Hope everyone's doing well. Hello, Suzanne. How's everyone? Do we got good enough sounds today? Hello, Denise. Hope everyone's doing good. How's everyone been?
Mama's venom tastes sweet.
What a day, huh? It's going to be a long one. We got some good streams going on today. We're going to dive in with this little boy band stuff. A little curious why Mr. Faradagos would want to brag about being connected to this. Well, A. Walker, Mr. Faradagos is married to legally Leslie. That is her husband. He is a lawyer in Florida. Sound is skipping. You know, there has been so many messed up issues between internet, phones, just everything. I couldn't even get my intro video to play.
Venom, lady in black. She listening in the shadows, ready to attack. No warning shot,
Is anybody else having a problem with sounds?
has wicked grin and a toxic glow. She's
Hi, Happy. How are you? Oh, okay. Hey, Walker. Yes. Doritos is who we're going to be talking about. Doritos wanted to, brag about his connection to Mr. Perlman. And I found it very, very interesting that somebody would flex that kind of connection. Okay, Jen Board says sound is good. So if somebody's having an issue with sound, try going out and coming back in. I know Verizon was down yesterday. I think almost a full 12 hours of internet and phones were down with Verizon. I don't know if this is something that's going to bleed over into other networks, but it could. My music is running. Oh, wow. Did it stop? I'm not even hearing my music. That is so wild. My intro didn't even play today, so that's wild. Normally, as soon as I hit go live, the video plays. Does the music stop? Going again. How about now? Did it stop? It keeps starting over and over. How about now? Okay. Okay, thanks. I'm not even hearing it on my end. I was shocked. Like my video didn't even want to do the intro today. So I know on my end, I'm also seeing two of me. Yeah. Well, I started fiddling around with some of the music apps and uh, made a new Venom song, but I also had I made a Tick Tick song for Felisa, and then I also um, was fooling around with some other music. Thanks, Suzanne. Oh, let's see. I'm assuming this might be okay. Yeah, I see there's two chat boxes open, and I've been trying to close one, and it just will not close. So, how's everybody, your day going? Got any big plans for the day? This week is going by so fast. We're 14 days into the new year, and I don't have enough calendar boxes for the amount of people that I want to add to the 2026 crap list. Oh, Happy says she showered. Her day is complete. That's great. Double the fun, right? Double the chaos. When I said I'm chaos, look, it's a proven fact. If I'm not derailing someone's stream, I'm derailing my own. So at least I could laugh about myself and my screw ups, right? Hi, my four sons. How are you? Welcome to the chat. Well, and Rosalind has entered. Hello, Rosalind. Yeah, I still can't get a redirect because I am not at 8,000 subs. So once I get up to 1,000, I could start getting those great redirects. Let's see. Oh, wow. I found the second avatar. Let's see if we can get rid of this one. It won't go away. Well, um, we got that all boggled up. Hey, but at least I was able to start my live. I've got sound. The only glitch today is there's two of me. So, without further ado, let's start taking a look at what I've got here. And what we're going to start with is our disclaimer. Of course, the opinions expressed are for commentary, reactions, satirical, parody, educational purposes. Information found is based off of comments and statements made by public figures, also known as Doritos, as well as public records, police reports, news articles, documentary series. Okay, this also has been found on various platforms. Me nor my viewers should be held accountable by any forms of Live Sir Doritos because we're openly discussing our topic at hand. And let's get into it. Oh, I want to start with this. I just thought this was really fun. We have, look at here. Look at the photoshopping here on Mr. Faradagos. I don't get what's going on here. His head does not fit the body. Kind of looks like his head was broken. I, I don't get this. This was on his profile. Like Photoshop much? Does not compute. Okay. Oh, she is really bad. Oh, wait, you know what? I have to go back to that for a second. He's got an extra forehead here. Like the eyebrow comes in right there, his forehead. Then he's got this nice white forehead. I had to go back to that. I almost forgot to point that out. Okay. Oh, while the bands were globally successful, Perlman largely kept the majority of their earnings, leading to lawsuits from nearly every act he managed. The band's fame was a key part of the scheme, used to lure in more investors who believed that they were dealing with a successful empire in music. Now, where this all starts is Perlman was just flabbergasted by the success of New Kids on the Block and wanted to earn that kind of money. And he was like really into aviation. He even had a blimp that crashed, but he did do a lot of sales for advertising with the blimps. He had MetLife signed, he had SeaWorld, but Perlman up and relocated to Florida from New York. And we're going to find out there's some other people from New York who relocated there. Hi, Roy. Hi, Sounds of Boss Life. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we know that he was into this music empire. And then we've got the Airship Enterprises, later known as Airship International, involved in lucrative advertising contracts with major brands Jordache, McDonald's, MetLife, SeaWorld. They were plagued by financial issues, construction problems, and crashes, leading to lawsuits and the company's eventual collapse. Okay, you know, when you have um, advertisers such as this, at some point you have to wonder, what was this guy doing? Like he really had the money going there, and it made no sense whatsoever that he was just throwing it away. Like he could have gone legit, he could have stayed legit, but he was after the money. Okay, so his aviation scam had a lot of fictitious operations. He created the illusion that Transcontinental Airlines was legitimate and successful charter of airship companies. He used a creative photography of a miniature model plane. Yeah, he held this model plane out over a runway, took pictures, multiplied the shot to make it look like he had a fleet of jets. And yeah, he was flying people, but what he was doing was renting the planes, and it was short distances because you pay by the hour, so, and fuel, all that. But it was a very big scam as well. So we go on, get to the Ponzi. Perlman solicited investments in a savings program tied to a fictitious airline, promising high returns. The money from new investors was used to pay earlier investors in a classic Ponzi scheme structure. So he was getting his investors, one paying the other. Peter to Paul, Paul to Peter, bouncing it back and forth. And somehow it was working. According to articles, court documents, an FBI report that I found that was very redacted, um, he actually started an FBI investigation into a former modeling agency that he had started called OTC. So, as fake companies, he fabricated documentation to support the fraud. He also created an elaborate web of fake documentation and entities. These are some of his entities. He created a fake accounting firm named Cohen and Siegel, named after, yes, the mob figures. Yep, he used mob names for that company. And he created and generated false financial statements and tax returns. He also created a fake German bank. He used that to make his finances appear legitimate. He also managed to somehow fake wire transfers with this bank. Then we've got the documents. He would use an associate of his, Harry Milner, who had been deceased, and would sign his name to the documents. And that's what he was doing to evade suspicion from the authorities or people that he was moving around so they wouldn't question his whole thing. Yeah, Suzanne, definitely. He was a creepy guy. And when you get into some of these articles, it talks about how when this all started breaking out, um, there were allegations of SA, and they talk boys from the boys band and the girls bands. They were talking about how they had found out he was recording the girls when they were naked and showing that to the boys and vice versa. And there were also claims that he was wrestling the boys in just a towel, naked wrestling, taking pictures. Oh, yeah, back and forth, total creep. When I heard it and read it, it reminded me of John Wayne Gacy. Oh, hey, Tree God, glad to have you. Hey, here and after. How are you? How are you? Colleen. Yeah, this guy, I mean, he was a creep. That's why I said, why? Why would Lips and Doritos brag about being connected with this guy? I don't get it. I do not get it whatsoever. Why would you use this as a flex? And when he was on the Flea show, he said he met Perlman in 1992, and Perlman picked him up and they went to a New Kids on the Block concert. And I'm thinking to myself, why would a man pick up another man to take him to a boy band concert? And then I thought, okay, so you got a lot of young girls. So were they looking at the teenage girls? Was that the draw? Was it just showing off, you know, this is a band, this is a business I'm trying to get into? He doesn't go into anything about what happened after Perlman and him went to the concert, just that they went to a concert and he worked on a yacht while he was in school. And he moved to Florida in 92. And we're talking about Faradagos, Mr. Doritos. And you've got Mr. Perlman, who moved to Florida in 91. So we've got two New York connections there. We've got Bayside, Queens, and we've got Flushing's, New York. But what's more interesting is we also have a third party that was from Florida that went to New York. But what's ironic is there was a New York, Florida to Orlando, back to New York, back to Orlando. You got to wonder what's the connection? Why is he using this as a flex? I don't know why. I wouldn't want to brag about being connected to somebody who ran a Ponzi scheme, who was accused of SA. I mean, some of these guys that were in the boy bands, some of them have addiction issues. Some of them have um, attempted to unalive themselves. Some of them have been in and out of issues with the law. So it goes back and forth. Hey, Yamaha, how are you? Okay, so we get past the fake airplanes, the fake bank account, the fake bank, the fake wire frauds. So we've got him moving. He says he helped put the bands together, was touring and traveling with Perlman and the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And then he claims he returned to New York to attend and finish law school. Well, we know he did finish law school. And when he graduated in 2002, he moved back to Orlando. But Perlman, like I said, He moved in 91 after learning about the New Kids on the Block, their fame, how they took off. He wanted to duplicate it. So he set out a talent scouting thing to just look for bands, boys that could sing, and went out to put up his own boy band. And the first band he put together was Backstreet Boys, followed by NSYNC. And he had O Town. He had some girl bands. He had LFO. He had quite a bit going. So in 1993, the Backstreet Boys were formed in Orlando. Um, as we know, it was by Lou Pearlman. Um, the original Backstreet Boy members were AJ McLean, who I believe that is the member. I'd have to recheck it, but I'm almost positive it was AJ that recently had some issues that we've seen in the press. Howie Dorough, Nick Carter, Kevin Richardson, Brian Luttrell. Their self-titled 1996 album was debuted in an instant hit. In Europe, they were huge. We've got the name of the albums right here and their songs. We Got It Going On, Quit Playing Games with My Heart, and we all know that song. I Backstreet's Back. Hey D spills the tea. So, like I said, we've got the combo of them going back and forth. New York, Florida, New York, Florida. Orlando is where they landed. And, you know, it's just wild because Dorito's partner, guess where he went? He went to law school at the same law school as Doritos. Yep. Mr. Lamb or Lambe uh, was his partner's name. Uh, they're not affiliated anymore. I wonder why. He seems to have ghosted. Can't imagine why. Doritos, can you tell us why? Where were you from 92 until 2002? What did you do? You said you were with the bands and helping out and traveling, putting them together. What was that really your role? Really? So again, like I said, the connection from law school, they moved to Orlando. He reestablishes his connection with Perlman, at least that we know of for sure, in 2002. He's now a lawyer. They now have a law firm um, with Mr. Lamb, however you want to pronounce it. So if I'm saying it wrong, Mr. Lambe, Mr. Lamb, I apologize. But you were a partner to Mr. Ferdegos. So we're just curious. What ended that partnership? Where'd that go? Michael, would you like to comment? What happened to the partnership? Like what was the legal partnership? What was the role with Mr. Perlman? I'm curious, Mr. Faradagos. What was your role from 1992 to 2002? For 9 years, what did you do? Where'd you go? So we've got the street address, which this was a big popular destination in Florida, Church Street Entertainment. This was a complex. This was actually owned by somebody else, but Mr. Perlman bought it. And this place had restaurants, bars, and all his little groups would go and play there, entertain. It it was just outside the theme park, so what a great draw. And you had Universal that was just getting started. You had Disney there. You had SeaWorld. You have Busch Gardens. Um, you have various other little parks that were there. There was even a religious park. I can't remember if it was the 12 Commandments or something like that. It was built off of the Bible and religious figures, which was wild. Oh, D spills the tea. I keep getting unsubbed from channels. Yeah, D, that's all YouTube. It happens all the time with a lot of us. Hi, here and after. How are you? Okay, so we know, like I said, I'm going to keep reiterating it as new people come in. We know about setting up a fake bank, fake wire fraud. We've got the fake airlines that never really was anything transcontinental. Um, we have the record label, which this is where the record label was. All their offices were located here, 127, which was Church Street. That was Doritos's partner. Him and his partner had a law firm there, and Perlman was on the top floor. So this is what the complex used to look like. The middle picture here. They, like I said, they had restaurants, live entertainment. It was a mix of everything, but it had a huge draw from all the parks and from tourism. So it was a prime location. It really was. So this is where Doritos' offices were. Him and Perlman and Lambe. Michael, again, what was your firm's role in this? Did Were you responsible for creating contracts? You did entertainment law, so did you make the contracts? We know you said you helped put the band together, the bands, that you would travel with the bands. Uh-huh. And you've been tied to Mr. Perlman since 92 when you were a yacht boy. Uh, you said you worked on a yacht while you were in school, so you were a yacht boy. You go to a New Kids on the Block concert and you begin following this guy around, and you were with this guy. Still wondering what was your true role. So Transcontinental Records was famously located at the top floor of Church Street Station entertainment complex in downtown Orlando. But he, like I said, he just got there in 91, and by 92 he's got a sports entertainment complex. But what we're going to discuss here is the fact that we've got Perlman, who, when you get into this, it's quite interesting because there is an FBI file that I found. It's over 117 plus pages, a lot of it redacted, but it goes back to um, the early days, early 90s, which is ironic because it lays out that Backstreet Boys were only with Perlman for about a year. So he owned like Backstreet branding, and he did have a claim to the bands because what he was doing was with Backstreet Boys, he had their name, but with NSYNC, he did something really different with NSYNC. He made himself the sixth member. He decided he wasn't just getting enough money from the Ponzi scheme, from the fake bank in Germany that he was pretending to get wire frauds from, getting loans for multi-million dollars. Mr. Ferragos, I have questions. Would you like to talk about Integra Bank? That lawsuit? You remember that lawsuit with Integra? I found Integra. Hi, Raquel. How are you? So, in this FBI document, Perlman, he calls the FBI because he says he's being threatened by an agent that worked for him that he was going to expose him. Expose him for what? He was going to do harm to his business and his reputation. Well, it turned out this agent worked for his modeling agency that was part of the Wilhelmina Company. Yeah. And this company was quite interesting because this informant, he served a year in jail, but he flipped on Perlman. When he flipped on Perlman, um, he started to expose the little scheme that was going on. But what I find interesting is from the 90s into the early 2000s, the FBI, they had wiretaps in Church Street Station complex, all their phones. They were surveilling everything. And they had almost all this information right at their fingertips. But yet they're investigating the agent for threatening Perlman. And it wasn't until this talent agent, the modeling agency agent, um, that he flipped on Perlman, that the FBI went after Perlman. Now, I will note this agent, which I'm going to bring up these documents and the final part of this whole puzzle that I'm putting together, because I mean, it's deep. It goes really deep. But this whole thing goes down through the 90s into the 2000s when Perlman starts to realize that the FBI is now looking at him. He packs up and he flees to Bali. Well, the only time Mr. Dorito's name comes up in any documents for Lou Pearlman or with Lou Pearlman is his office that's in the building that Pearlman bought and what we knew as Church Street Entertainment Complex in Orlando on the third floor, Suite 330. But him and his partner were representing Lou Pearlman when he fled to Bali. And they were begging a court in Indiana to let them withdraw from the case. They had to withdraw because they said Mr. Pearlman would not return any phone calls. He wasn't calling them. He wasn't responding to anybody. In fact, the feds had to go and arrest him in Bali. So, Mr. Federigos, would you care to explain your connection? What did you do for all those years? You were with Mr. Perlman. We're just gonna say from 1992 until the day he was busted, which I believe was 2016. So all those years, and your name doesn't come up with any of the bands. It doesn't come up with any of the songs. We're not seeing your name. So are you lying about your exact connection? Other than you being a defense lawyer for him when he was caught, when Mr. Perlman was caught and didn't show up in court? Because Integra Bank was just one of many entities that were going after Lou Pearlman for over it was $100 billion by the time everything was looked over. Hi, Dwayne. How are you? So, do we have any questions? Yeah, no, I'm not timing anybody out just yet, but hey, it could happen. I'm kidding. Serrano, hi. Oh yeah, and like I said, this is also going to be there's going to be another part to this. Like I just wanted to get into explaining the little dips and dives that seem to go on because I have to wonder when you look at Hales, you look at all the scamming, the delays, um, the the phony fundraisers that supposedly bought a bench, but yet they're now claiming that the bench for the memorial that never wasn't paid for, and they're complaining about Megan and Tug keeping the money. which is funny because it sounds like Megan said last night, it sounds like she wants an accounting. Well, sorry guys, but did you donate? Can you prove you donated? Because they're probably going to need your real names and email addresses, documentation to prove that you donated. Because they're trying to claim that the bench that Megan and Tug donated to the memorial of the memorial that never was came out of a storage unit and was painted. Like, what? And if it was so, like, anybody who donated to Megan and Tug's memorial to the memorial that never was also knew that any money left over from any memorial bench or anything sent, they were putting to their own use, to their channels. So we knew that there was clear things said and spoken by anybody who has sent anything to be set up by the memorial, including the birdhouse with the million cameras and the wishing well. We know, everybody knows it was clearly stated. There's nothing being hidden except for on your channel. The contracts, that's the funny part. Here and after, there are no contracts that show he we can't find any that says he wrote any. um who knows where he really had any ties in this, other than he's on record for representing Lou Pearlman and wanting to withdraw from the Integra lawsuit where they were going after Pearlman. So that's the only time his name shows up, and they said they wanted to withdraw because they could not get in touch with Mr. Pearlman. Mr. Pearlman was not returning any calls to them, wasn't responding to them. So it's wild. I mean, you would think even on a personal level, he'd be able to get in touch with Mr. Pearlman and say, "Hey, I'm representing you. At least, give me a call back. Tell me what's going on. You know, I'm representing you here. We need to know what we're doing." And even with that, it really doesn't say which lawyer, if it was Doritos or his partner, that was actually answering in the court. It just gave the firm name of Federigos and Lambe. Oh, we have 64 people and only 50 likes. Well, we better get those likes up, or I'm not going to show the rest of this. I won't air the rest of the dirty laundry. Hi, number one cat. So imagine, how did they come up with the idea? Because, I mean, Perlman obviously was smart, but was he teaching them how to scam? Like, that's why I said, Doritos, I have questions. Did you learn from him or did you teach him? I'm a little confused because he had a pretty big thing going, and you bragged about, being with him when this all started, when putting the bands together and traveling with them. So were you working for the company? In what capacity? Were you part of the talent scouts? Were you part of the music side of it? Were you putting the record deals together? The deals that when the guys sat down and actually waited for their money, they found out they weren't even getting minimum wage, that the amount that he was taking from these bands was almost everything, to where minimum wage wasn't even their pay. They were in debt more than what they should have been earning. Their whole career, they're out working, singing, performing nightly, and not just anywhere. NSYNC performed at Disney in what's now known as Raglan Rose, and they had their own little entertainment setup as well, which back in the day it was called Pleasure Island, and NSYNC did perform there. So, you got to wonder, did he have them play for free? Like, what was his cut? What was Michael's cut while these bands were out there singing and performing like puppets, and everybody else was making bank except these boy bands, these bands that were destroyed, that um, there were nude pictures taken, videos, and shared with other bands, sharing them, the naked pictures and videos with the girls. The girls would see the guys, and Perlman was controlling it all. So were were you the booking agent for the Transcontinental Airlines, Michael? Did you run the airline? Oh, the pretend airline. Or were you part of the fake bank? Were you a board member of the fake bank in Germany? I'm confused. You have to wonder, like with the whole wrestling with a towel that Perlman did. Where were, yeah, Dorito says he was with traveling with all these bands when they started out. So this was going on. Where were you? Did Mr. Perlman try this with you, Doritos? I It just seems weird. I'm still stuck on the part that he picked you up from school to take you in 92. Your words, Doritos, picked you up and took you to the concert to go see New Kids. Why does a man pick up a yacht boy? Yeah, a yacht boy, to go see a boy band. Were you checking out the band, or were you checking out the young girls? Because that's another interesting thing that I found. Uh, you laughed about when you met Lips. She was 17. You were 24. Hmm. But it was a G-rated date, right? it, it was all G-rated. Just holding hands, just skipping, sipping from double straws in a single Sunday. Is that how it went? Hi, Bridget. How are you? The connection, I just don't get it. Why would you brag about such a thing? I don't understand it. Oh, yeah, he could have been his lapdog. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Sending him, was he a rover? Yeah. Hey, that could have been. He was a gopher for the boy bands. Well, from Perlman, maybe. Well, no, there's I the age gap is one thing, but to say that it would, why make it a thing to turn around and say that it was G rated. Now, what there's another interesting connection too, is he talked about how he met Lips. She was working at a yogurt shop. They both were. He was a manager. He was her manager. And guess who owned the yogurt shop they worked in? You'll never believe it. They worked in a TCBY. And the owner, can anybody guess? Any guesses? Come on, somebody out there, guess. Who do you think owned the yogurt shop that they both worked in when they met? Oh, you guys either don't type fast enough or you're just not connecting the dots here. Perlman. Perlman owned the TCBY that they both worked in. Now, how deep his interest was in TCBY, I don't know. But the decoy, yeah. But, you know, you have to wonder. There's so many dots that connect to so many people, and you have to wonder, how did they all meet? Did did they all meet in New York? Like, Lips was already in Florida. We know she had a show with Disney. We know that she also, which they both do, they have ties to Illinois. They have ties to New York. Georgie, you better type faster. But yeah, so you've got the partner to Doritos, went to the same law school. They both graduated in 2002. They both go to Orlando and straight into the offices. And when Perlman was busted, that whole building became a ghost town. They moved, like, I think it was right across the street, basically. um, so early on with Lips, she was a like singer, dancer on a show, Sebastian's, oh, like Sebastian's Crab Shack or something like that. It was a Disney show on Disney Junior, and she wound up in that show. It was not just her; I believe her sister was in it too, and she went into that. She was a Disney kid, so there is that, and then somehow winds up in a TCBY yogurt that Perlman owned, where Michael was her manager. But it was a friendly, remember, don't forget, it was a G rated date. They just held hands. And then when they met again and started dating, she was married. Hmm. Yeah. To hubby one. But I wonder if that date was G rated or not. They didn't say. Just a lot of bragging about the new kids on the block and being connected to Perlman. Yeah, I love Disney myself. There's a lot of people that do. A lot of people buy into Disney and Universal. Am I going to sit and watch, Disney Junior? No. If I had a child that was younger, yeah, like my offspring, they grew up watching Disney, but mostly Nickelodeon was their thing. Were they into pizza? Ah, that's a good question. I didn't see anything come up about pizza. I've seen a lot about the yogurt shop, and I've seen a lot about Perlman with the fake bank in Germany, the wire fraud, uh, the thousands of millions of dollars, the thousands of investors that he was promising to pay back that never saw a penny. There's some that got some money back. I think, if I remember reading in some of the document, or maybe it may have been on Netflix, I think they may have recovered maybe 32 million. It wasn't much. Wasn't much out of a over 100 billion, I think, is what was at one point reported. Yeah, I'm confused. Why would anybody want to brag about being connected to this guy? He was scum. He was a total scumbag. It makes no sense to me whatsoever why anybody would say, "Hey, yeah, this is what I did." No, I'd be so quiet about it. I wish that, especially since when you dig in and you try to find his name doesn't come up. Why would you implicate yourself into this? Did he think people on this internet were not going to look up his name? And in his defense, he could have just been a innocent uh, law firm that, moved into Perlman's building, and they were doing their own thing. And when Perlman got busted, Perlman could have just said, "Hey, call that law firm. They're in my building. we'll get them to represent me. And maybe that was his tie. But why, why wouldn't he call them back? We knew he was running from the government and from his charges, but I don't get why somebody would brag about putting bands together after all this scandal and everything that was done to these bands. Well, the interesting part there, Georgie, is Mr. Perlman, or not Perlman, Mr. Federigos Doritos, his partner. He's kind of ghosted. Like I question, there's a picture of the guy, but I have to question, is he real? Because what I find ironic is his name is Lambe, lamb or lambe. And what do Greek people eat? They eat a lot of lamb. So, you know, I'm diving into a rabbit hole wondering, was this a real partner or was this a fictitious partner? Because for the most part, kind of disappeared. Yeah, the thing is with Perlman, with this Ponzi scheme, they actually have said that his is the most successful Ponzi scheme that has ever been pulled off. There has never been anybody that, like, he made Madoff look like small potatoes. He ran it longer and he kept it going a lot longer than Madoff did any of his. So, I mean, yeah, the conspiracy theory of Scientology, the Diddy thing, definitely. When you hear about Diddy and the baby oil, you have to wonder, Perlman too. He's another one. He's definitely into that little box that you've got to look at, and you've got to look at the people around him, because where one is guilty, usually more are too. And that's just my opinion. You know, you jump into the pool with a person, you know, you swim as a pair. But he's the one who went bragging about this. Oh, there were a lot of shell companies here and after. A lot. A lot. That's why when Perlman was being investigated by the FBI, the document that I found, it turned out that it was one of his talent scouts from his modeling agency that was actually calling and threatening Perlman. He was extorting him, without a doubt. He was extorting him. He wanted to, get some money out of this. And Perlman goes to the FBI and turns this guy in. And for years, they investigated this whole claim of Perlman being extorted and being threatened, and his connection after the Backstreet Boys left. His connection, which it's redacted, comes back to two members of the Backstreet Boys, and whether he was still an agent for them, it doesn't say, because of them being minors and the FBI's redaction. You can't see what it's about. But I was able to finally find the guy's name. And throughout the investigation, they had wiretaps going on Perlman's phones, on the building, like everything that was going on. They were investigating this, and they did get the guy for extortion and threats. When he went to go deliver or to pick up the money that he was after, it was just like $250,000, which I'm going to show you in my next live. All that little fun documentation that I found. But I wanted to basically come on and talk to you guys about what I've been finding, what's out there, why I'm poking this bear. And I'm poking it because he brought it up. They made it a bragging point on the fleas to talk about what they found and how he worked with him, and they giggled and laughed about it. And the flea did kind of mention, in playing devil's advocate here, she did bring up that, there was the scandal, which did she know about it prior to what they were going to talk about? I don't know. I don't, I, it's hard to say, but I find it funny that everybody that is connected through the smear team that they have put together for Preston and Crook, every single one of them are tied into criminals or addicts of some sort, and they all have shady, sketchy backgrounds. And now we have even more proof outside of seeing the fact that they are losing both their homes because they haven't paid a penny on their mortgages. One is already gone, empty, vacant, with a for sale sign in front of it, and they're living in the other one. And there's now a new law firm representing Freddie Mac that's going after the second house. It I can't believe the amount of people that are involved in this, that none of them have a clean background, not one, that tie to Lynette's and Crook's smear team, not one. They have not introduced anybody into the picture. Anybody that's inserted themselves into this case can say that there is nothing in their background that isn't tied to somebody that's been charged with a crime, been addicted to some substance, has a felony, was arrested for a felony that pleaded down to a larger misdemeanor. It's all one big who done it. That's an interesting thing. Could they be connected to Epstein? I mean, the amount of money that Perlman was throwing around in Florida, and with the amount of schemes that were going on, you would have to think at some point, did their paths cross? It's a possibility. I don't know. I didn't find anything that said Epstein, but when you're in Florida and you're throwing that kind of weight around and that kind of money, it's more than likely. I mean, they do, all these people seem to have moved in the same circles. Now, Epstein, he seemed to target New York as well. I mean, that was his hunting ground for a lot of the girls that, they came from the Midwest or from Europe. They were looking to be models too. I mean, it's a creepy, gross situation when you think about it. Yeah, there are some loans on the house. Like I really haven't dove much into their bankruptcies. Um, I've peeked here and there and looked at it, and it's never, like, I've never had a reason to really dive into them. They don't pay their bills. Period. That's my opinion. Oh, I definitely got to get some mods because I forgot we got to do the. Can we all do a big click? why why does that woman deny that she smokes? And why did they find it so funny that her husband overate THC CBD products the other night? They thought it was hysterical that he ate too much of it. Like, I mean, really? I don't understand these people. They think, I have nothing against people who smoke weed or indulge in gummies. I've taken gummies. I've got nothing against it. Do I smoke? No, I can't smoke that stuff. Mm-mm. Yeah, I've heard her temper going off on some of you people for calling her out. That's for sure. That is for sure. She does not like to be called out on stuff that's really happening. What I don't get is why her viewers are so blinded. Like the other night, I I'm just going to go ahead and say his name because I came across by accident his post, his own video. This bearded fisherman who, that guy concerns me. He does. Bearded Fisherman had posted that he was banned and timed out. Was Perlman connected to Teterboro Airport? Well, I do know that he was flying out of Florida. Um, whether it was he had hangar space, which that's ironic too. His original audition spots when he started in Florida was out of a hangar where he had transcontinental uh, or was it trans international airlines. It was all in a hangar, and that's where he would do all his auditions for the bands. Like the guy couldn't even produce an Office Space in 91 and in 92. Like he went from the bottom of nothing and just getting contracts for advertisements on blimps that he didn't own. The only blimp that he owned, he spent millions of his investors' money to build a blimp that crashed. Colleen, whose video? Perlman? Hello, T42. I see you lurking. Are we talking about now Teeterboro? That's actually interesting, Ross. I will have to connect the dots on that one. I would imagine he would have had some ties into a few airports, considering that he was flying uh, internationally to Germany. T42, I am going to time you out. I'm going to time you out for being late today and lurking longer than you should have. Yeah. Oh, Bearded Fisherman. Yeah. He was timed out, not by me. He was timed out by his own channel, by um, the Fleas. According to his video that he posted, they timed him out several times and then they punted him out. I mean, this is also a man that they bought a computer for last Christmas, not this past one. This was part of the Harley Jolly Christmas. They provided him with the computer. I wonder if that came from Lynette's money. It had to have, because they were buying all that equipment. Diane, check out Conspiracy Files. Colin does in-depth research. Oh, thank you, Diane Chase. I will. You were on the first channel and been here since. Teterboro is another airport, or Teterboro. He was a homeless man. Well, he's not homeless. He has an apartment. I don't know if how long he was homeless, but any video I've seen of Bearded Fisherman, he is in an apartment. Yeah, with Teterboro, I think he could have been starting. That might be the hangar. Maybe he fashioned his blimp out of when it crashed, because he did start in New Jersey. Like, you read up on this guy, and his whole thing was he was into aviation. The Rose says, well, thank you for joining us. Good luck with your pool game tonight. I hope you come back again. Oh, talking about the guy who does the ghost video. Ghost video. Which guy would that be? Are you talking, Raquel? Are you talking about the guy who he has a channel where I is he a ghost or a clown? I can't think of what it is. Like he's got like a really creepy start, but he goes into murder and or schmurder. I probably shouldn't have said that. Not that I'm being monetized. So, oh, he was connected. Oh, in Flushing. Okay, yeah, that's where he would watch the blimps and the airplanes take off from. And he went around bragging that he had the connection for the blimps, and it turned out it was his roommate that actually got him a ride. He tagged along with his roommate, who was able to get a ride on, I believe it was the Goodyear blimp, and brought Perlman with. But Perlman, it's written up that he would watch all the aircraft taking off from his apartment in Flushings, New York. And that's where he got his fascination into aviation. And then from aviation, dives right into New Kids on the Block. Once he found out how much money they made and what they were worth, you know, it was no longer aviation. It was, I want a boy band. I want to do that. Oh, Epstein was out of there too. Well, I guess we are going to have to dive into Mr. Epstein and possibly Mr. Perlman. This could wind up being more than a 3-part series here. But I figured, let's get everybody familiar with Perlman. Let's remind everybody who Doritos is bragging about and what a scumbag Perlman was. Yeah, when you think about why would you adopt somebody's story that was a scumbag scammer, Ponzi scheme genius, dare I say? To me, that's not cred. That's not street cred. To me, that says red flag, run. And the fact that as lawyers, their only defense at the time that they show up for Perlman is to argue with a judge that they need to withdraw. And she wasn't even going to let them off. She did eventually, but she wasn't going to. I wish she would have kept them on. But like I said, they also had ties with Chicago Title and Trust in Chicago, Illinois. This Integra Bank out of Indiana. Now, Teeterboro, that's mostly private jets and like the blimp where they stored the blimp, and a lot of just hangar space and like 1 or 2 runways, right, Roz? Yeah, Yamaha, you're right. They think it makes them sound cool and connected. Yeah, exactly. They are shite bags for sure. But I'm just curious. Like I'm still stuck on the yacht boy thing. That he said he worked on a yacht. Perlman picks him up from school and takes him to a concert. What man picks up another man to take to a concert other than a predator? That's my opinion. I think I think there were a couple predators there. So was Doritos a predator? What was his tie? I mean, his name doesn't come up with other than what I found so far. Just the things that make you go, hmm. Oh, living at the No Island. Now, I don't know. I don't think Chips had enough connections to be part of the Epstein no-nos. Epstein seemed to be rubbing shoulders with financial, powerful players. Yeah, Flushing's is closer to Queens, and that's exactly where Mr. Doritos is from. Bayside, Queens, to be exact. And like I said, him and his partner both graduated in 2002 from the same law school. And then they go work for Perlman. And this other name that was associated with Doritos is he's a ghost. Like, he has a name, he has a picture, but is he an actual person? I don't know. There's a lot of janky things going on with Mr. Doritos' sites. And that's coming next too. When you dive into Mr. Doritos, there's some clicking that just doesn't keep sticking. Not in the way that it should be. Well, that's the thing. Where was he for 9 years? From 1992 to 2002. We know he was in school. He said he moved from New York to Florida in 92 and then went back to New York for law school. But for 9 years, he said, he worked for Perlman, that they were putting the bands together, traveling with the bands. I want to know, what was his title during that time? What did he do with the bands? What did he do for the bands? What did he do for Perlman from 1992 until the time he got his law license? What did he do outside of uh, managing a yogurt shop? Oh, Liz Barnes. I'm not sure when E got busted. Um, Late 2000s. It was like mid to late 2000s for E. I I know. I'm sorry, Georgie. Um, that woman's not a victim of anything but her own imagination. Sorry, I don't buy her victim card. Not at all. There's too many people out there that have really gone through stuff like this, that she threw around that word and those accusations way too easy, and she wants to sell off to us that the police told her to get a restraining order, a civil order of protection. Like, no, I don't have to be a legal mind or a cop to tell you that if you make a report of SA, they're not going to tell you to get a restraining order. They're going to investigate. They're going to do what they've got to do. They're going to pull whatever documents they need to pull. No. Yeah, he died in prison. And while he was in prison, get this, Perlman was trying to put choirs and actually trying to run business from behind bars in a federal prison. He put together a choir. He was trying to sign singing acts. Like, he was trying to continue from a federal prison after he had been busted. And when he was busted in 2007, 5 years after Doritos and his partner moved into his building in Church Street Station Entertainment Complex, Perlman gets busted. But Perlman, like I said, was under the FBI's watch for what he turned in for extortion and threats against him. And throughout their whole investigation, they had them under lock and key, listening, watching, lurking, from California to New York to Florida. All these different Fed offices were involved. And yet they didn't get him until after this guy flipped, after the guy who was busted for the extortion and served 1 year. Yeah, without seeing anything, like, I can't make that jump, Liz, with E and Perlman. It's very good possibility. I mean, it's possible. I personally haven't seen anything, but I can't say that I've actually looked at anything that may connect the two, but it's possible. There could be a connection there. But uh, as far as Georgie's statement with the lips being a bit, no, no, I don't even buy her story of what she claimed against her own parents. Um, this woman has a vindictive complex where she just wants to go out and accuse people for her own flaws and her own insecurities. Well, here and after, a lot of lawyers that wind up in jail become jailhouse lawyers. Even uh, prisoners that, if they're able to understand a law book or get into the law library, they will hire themselves as lawyers. If they've got somebody well versed enough that could understand the law books and put a motion together, other prisoners will represent other prisoners. So, I mean, I believe that Paint Chips probably was a jailhouse lawyer. Now, how far he may have gotten while he was in, for the time that he served, who knows? We see what kind of motions he's throwing at the Fed case now. So, to me, it just sounds like a bunch of rhetoric. I think he's exactly in the position where he needs to be in life. He is a paid smear, uh, propaganda spreading antagonist. He gets paid to smear people, and that's what he does. They did keep you paying one bill. Oh, Suzanne, that's good. Well, I think we've all been guilty of being stuck to paying or the bills. They've got us on cable. They've got us stuck with the streaming services. Now, it went from regular TV to cable services, and then cable said, well, we're just going to make this even harder. We're going to start buying up the local stations, and you're going to have to pay to see your local news now. So, I mean, they've all got us when you think about it. But that's what I've got so far on Mr. Perlman and Mr. Doritos. Hi, Dino Mom. Thank you. And guys, really, like, I'm just getting into the streaming stuff. Like, I'm really good at typing and giving comments and opinions from the keyboard side. So the talking side is where I'm trying to start to feel more comfortable. Like, I'm really comfortable, like, when I'm talking with Rosalind or when I've been on with Shizzy, even with Jay. And I love joking and having a good time and being snarky and sarcastic and just throwing up the chaos that I can create. But the serious side of this, like, I'm really trying to fit in with the stories that I'm trying to put out, and I just want to give my side of what I'm seeing and what I'm finding, and try and drop whatever I find that's interesting on this side too, and not just the Hale stuff. There's other topics that I look into. I think Laura Owens, that's going to be interesting. Um, there's other cases that are coming up. I even find the Wade Wilson from Florida, the Joker tattooed guy who killed two people, who ran amok in Florida. They had warrants for him everywhere. And this guy was out committing crimes left and right. And if they would have arrested him, there's two girls that would still be with us today and not unalived. Well, thank you, Georgie. Thank you, T. I appreciate it, T42. I just remember when these channels are throwing out the stuff that they do, it is to cause distortion and to keep you from paying attention to what the real issues are here. And the issues are that Lynette and John, they both broke a cease and desist. They broke civil protection orders repeatedly. These people have spoken on their behalf, breaking their civil protection orders by third party contact and interference. And every single one of these people, this is what I'm trying to point out here. Every single one of these people have some kind of criminal or addictive past. I, even some of them have been under evaluations, I'll say, in one way or another. And they're trying to throw us off by causing other distortion and other noise to have us look left when we should be looking right or staying focused center. And the problem is there is a child living on that property that every single one of these people, this woman and her husband, brag about also how they have done guardianship cases and stood up for kids. Well, if you're standing up for kids, why did you leave a child living in a shed on that property in the conditions with the people that they claim took her because they loved her? They can't even afford to buy their way off into the world in any form, in any capacity. They lie, they scam, they cheat, they steal. And that's my opinion about Lynette and Crook. And this child, now at 6 years old, is starting to get at the age where everything is impressionable. Everything is going to become a memory. And the longer this child is with these people, the more impressionable, the longer the memory is going to be. What she's seeing in dysfunction, she sees as normal everyday life. The yelling, the fighting, the screaming, the recording, the cameras, everything that's going on, that child thinks is a normal function life of an adult. This is not how adults function every day. I don't walk around with a camera pointed at my neighbors and walking down the street and doing what these people are doing. Jeremy is filming for his own protection, for his safety, for his own sanity, because he went time after time after time to report these people. They're harassing him. They stalked him. When they couldn't get their way, they started posting. They kept posting. We've seen the proof. So when these channels throw up their, her and her husband are doing a sideshow. Yeah, that's the circus sideshow. Flips is doing this. Chips is doing that. Volmit's doing an article here. Not one of them have shown anything that shows that Jeremy is breaking the law with them. It shows them absolutely breaking the law and a civil protection order that we've yet to see enforced. Suzanne, that child is nothing but a paycheck. She was a paycheck and a guaranteed monthly income for an old woman who her own family wants nothing to do with her. Nothing. Yeah, they, like I keep saying, they self-inserted themselves into this. And when you look at uh the two L's and Gator Boy and uh Stupid Dave and the idiots that were on the internet already, they had a personal grudge with Jeremy already. And when they heard this drop with Guano and Jeremy, and Guano shoulder checking and trying to get Jeremy to strike him, they took and ran with it. They inserted themselves. And my question is, when you see all these early conversations, when even before Silverman was involved, I think BBB was involved a lot earlier than what we've even heard so far. And then I question, where are some other people that, there's some people that have disappeared, and I got to wonder why. Yeah, Liz, they are sketchy. They are sketchy people, and they're out for themselves. Tizzy the Bounce. Hello, lurker. My sponsor, my 10-year sponsor, Tizzy. Oh, that day, Liz, yeah. When he showed up at that storage facility, he went there on a mission. And isn't it ironic, he was filming, and what channel was it that dropped the information right away outside of his? He was filming for them. That gave them the open door to try and launch their little counterattack. So when she says that, early on, she wanted to report the story unbiased, and she keeps saying nobody on this side ever showed at least one video, something, show one piece of proof that they stalked. Well, I did about a month ago, a couple weeks ago. I showed a video, the actual video that was part of the reason Ohio gave a civil protection order to Jeremy. It was John Crook's video where he recorded himself driving to Jeremy's property. They just want you to hear the side of Jeremy approaching his vehicle and yelling and trying to get John to fight him. No, no, that's not exactly how it happened, Felisa. He got into the car and drove following them because he wanted to prove that Brett Granger and Madame Mayor worked for Jeremy. That was his whole deal. He wanted to try and prove that there was a connection with Jeremy and them. Yes, he absolutely did, my sons. He sure did. My four sons, you got it. He drove to his property, recorded them, and then turned his vehicle around and sat out there and waited until they started to drive to come off of Jeremy's property. His vehicle was half on Jeremy's property at the time that Jeremy was approaching his vehicle. Absolutely. Yeah, well, Lynette wants to claim that at the time that that was recorded, Crook was going to Walmart with no shoes on. With no shoes on. He was going to Walmart. Now, we see a lot of strange things happen at Walmart, but it's not every day you see somebody driving barefoot. Isn't that illegal to drive barefoot? I know in my state, if they catch you driving barefoot, it's illegal. You get a ticket. I mean, it's a driving infraction, nonetheless, you're not supposed to be driving barefoot. But that's where we're at this point. And I am in the process of putting together the next part of this, which I'm hoping will be the last part, but you never know. I mean, this could wind up getting another part because it's so big. And this FBI file, like, redacted or not, it still has a lot to show, and I definitely want to show some of that. And I'm definitely going to pull up the bank suit, and I'm going to show the one connection that I've found so far that absolutely connects Doritos and Perlman. And if, Doritos wants to answer to what he was doing for 9 years, well, my email's on my page. You can email me, Doritos. You can email your side. I'd love to hear it. Some states plus Walmart won't let you shop barefoot. Yeah, well, yeah. Raquel, very true. No shoes, no shirt, no service. It's kind of any business I've ever seen. Especially, you're right, with food. And that Walmart out there is a super Walmart. So there, he should not be walking in there barefoot, because I'm pretty sure that they not only have the grocery side in that Walmart, but I'm pretty sure they have the rotisserie and the deli. Yeah, beach shops. If you're on the beach, it happens. Even restaurants that are right off the beach, they usually have an outdoor area, like a patio area, where if somebody's coming right off the beach, they can get served and they're still outside. They're not actually in the establishment. So that I could see. But yeah, this Walmart location is not a beachfront. Yeah, I mean, flip flops and slippers. I mean, he could have had flip flops on, but I mean, even a flip flop or slipper, when you think about it, with driving, um, in a knee jerk reaction, should you need to hit a pedal, a flip flop is not, nor slipper. I mean, unless it's like a full shoe slipper, it's not exactly the safest thing you want to be driving with either. It's there's so much. There is so much about this. But I appreciate everybody for joining in, and um, we're going to get a little bit juicier in the next part with the documents that I've gotten and what I'm going to go through on what I seen with the FBI investigation, um, the banks, um, the Germany connection, and where we can track Mr. Federigos and Mr. Lambe. So I appreciate everybody coming in and taking part in this. And don't forget to hit that like, share this, subscribe. I can't get it. And those who may be from Mr. Coops, please let him know. I know the redirect button. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, until I hit 1,000 subs, I can't get any redirects, and I'm still under that. So I'm still growing this channel and putting out stuff, and we'll be doing more. And I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to check out People Watching Tonight with Just Jay. We've got Shizzy later tonight. We've got Tug and Megan. Tonight, I think is it Megan's channel or Tug's channel? Tonight's Thursday. Don't forget to check out Rosalind. I know she did her stream this morning. Deconstructing won't be on today. She's going to be taking off, so we won't be diving there. But Jay's got his People Watch. Shizzy's got his show tonight, Yamaha, with I Have a Story. If you guys want to drop any of your links, feel free. Yeah, Megan. Okay, yeah, Megan. I mean, they're on each other's show, so it's so hard to remember whose channel is what. So yeah, tonight is Tugs, but we know Megan will still be on there. Yeah, well, Suzanne, not all of us are California people. Actually, I think flip flops are real popular in Florida too. Not so much as California though. You guys got that surfer dude stuff still happening there. Well, Diane, I'm jealous. I can't wear. Well, I could wear flip flops in my house all year. I could wear them outside, but I don't think I'd want to in the winter months. And then, oh, we've got Tizzy. Tizzy wears them all day. Yeah, see, Florida, they wear flip flops everywhere. I don't know. I told Rosalind I'm getting I used to love going to Florida. I don't know. After watching some of those videos that we were laughing at the other day, there's some weird people in Florida. It's not the Florida I remember. I might have to find a new beach spot to go to. Or at least a new area. Like I just think of I, God, have you guys ever looked at some of the mugshots for like Levy County and Bronson and Chiefland? Like you see the people getting arrested in that area. It's scary. My spots in Florida have always been like, Tampa Clearwater area. And, as we know, Tampa Clearwater is Scientology capital. Not that I'm a Scientologist, but they're all over there. So you see you see some of the Scientologists. Well, thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate it. And hopefully I can grow my channel and we can get more of you coming in and get some more participation going. Maybe have to figure out what I'll do on the side outside of doing stories or little clips here and there. As you can see, I've been having fun on my community posts with the images of Trash Panda, and I did T42 with big lips. Yeah, as soon as that Botox lips dropped, I did one of that umbrella guy and Nick Ricada. And I just spun from there. It was fun. Anna Marie Island is the best. Where's Anna Marie Island, Kim? Is that Florida or California? I'll tell you where I do want to go in Florida. I do want to go like towards the Keys. There's a spot where there's a beach that actually has like at night there is glowing rocks and fish. Like it's wild to see it. I also want to go to the Keys. Florida West Coast. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've got spring to look forward to. South Miami. Now, Miami is fun. I will give you that, tree good. Miami is a lot of fun. My dad's parents were from Miami Beach, which is now uh, South Beach. So we used to go to the beach, and there used to be a place called Castaways, if I remember right. Yeah, I appreciate Mr. Coop and him sending me some followers. I really do appreciate it. The Keys are filthy. Now, Colleen, the one thing I have to admit, I want to go to the Keys. I want to go to Key West. I want to go one year for New Year's for the crystal glass shoe drop that I always tease Jay about. Oh, tree god. I love conch. Conch is delicious. First time I ever had it was in the Bahamas. Your mom, is your mom in here? I didn't see her if she is. If she is, hi, your mom. I just seen somebody say it. Oh, there's your mom. Where have you been, lady? All right, guys, I am going to wrap this up. I have shopping to do. I still have a couple returns to do. And I will be hanging out in the channels. I will be in Tugs and Shizzies and Jays and making the rounds. So I hope you all have a great afternoon. Have a fun Thursday. Don't get in too much trouble. Your mom, email me, and you guys have a great day.